wanna visit Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, Venus, and Mars. I wanna see Mercury. I wanna zoom around the moon. So put your spacesuits on, sit back, we're gonna lift off soon. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. We're gonna blast off into outer space as soon as the countdown's done. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. When the rockets roar, we're gonna soar way off into the sun. Sailing through the solar system, we'll be taking off today. Around the rings of Saturn and out past the Milky Way. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. We're gonna blast off into outer space as soon as the countdown's done. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. When the rockets roar, we're gonna soar way off into the sun. And when the rockets roar, we're gonna soar way off into the sun.
Hey, Maria, what you looking at?
The moon. My dad said if you look hard enough, you can see the man in the moon. But I've been here 20 minutes, and I still haven't seen anything.
Let me see. But I think we're wasting our time. I don't think there's a man in the moon. Whoa! Did you see what I saw?
That depends. What did you see?
You go first.
I didn't see anything.
Me neither.
But I saw you.
Who are you?
Hey, you're the man I saw on the moon.
How did you do that?
Well, I'm Hard Hat Harry. I'm a genie.
Whoa! How do we know you're for real?
Well, I feel pretty real to me.
We can see you are real. A real person, that is. But how do we know you're a real genie?
Well, that's easy. First, I know your names. You're Jerry and you're Maria, right? And second, I can be anything you want. I can be a lion. I could be a tiger. I could be a bear. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my! Or I can be a monkey.
Can you be an astronaut? That's what I want to be.
Well, monkeys were the first astronauts.
They were?
Yeah. May 28th, 1959 was a very special day for monkeys everywhere.
Why was it a special day?
Because that's when the monkeys Abel and Miss Baker became America's first space travelers.
Hey, I saw that movie, Monkeys in Outer Space.
Well, I think I've seen every space movie ever made. The Day the Earth Stood Still, Invaders from Mars, The Three Stooges in Outer Space, but I don't remember seeing monkeys in outer space.
Well, that's because those movies were science fiction. What I'm going to show you is science fact. Oh, but first, I think you need to look the part. Wait a minute. I didn't mean to turn you into monkey knots. I meant to change you into astronauts.
Whoa! I feel like a real astronaut. Jeez, where are we?
Using galactic gravity space genie techniques, we've been transported to the Astronauts Hall of Fame at Space Camp USA. And we're going through a time warp in a time tunnel to the beginnings of America's space program.
Why monkeys? They can't even talk. All they can do is...
Good question, Maria. I mean, they can't even moonwalk. But without them, America wouldn't even have a space program. The race for space began in 1957 when the then Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, an unmanned satellite, into orbit. The United States entered the race 3 months later with its launch of its own satellite, Explorer 1.
What's a satellite? And what's an orbit?
Submarine spacecrafts. That's a good question, Jerry. A satellite is anything in space that circles or orbits around something else. So our moon is a satellite of Earth, and the planets, including Earth, are satellites of our sun.
But why the monkeys?
Because space travel was man's biggest and boldest adventure ever, and the monkeys proved it was safe. It was because of monkey naughts like Baker and Miss Abel that the first man, Yuri Gagarin, a Russian, went into space. America then launched the Mercury capsule Freedom 7 with our first astronaut. It was the beginning of America's journey into space.
Well, who was the first astronaut? And was he scared or excited, or both, when they strapped him in his seats and the rocket engine started?
And what did his mom and dad say? And what did he feel like, huh? And what happened next?
Whoa! Soaring space shuttles, one question at a time. His name was Commander Alan B. Shepard, and I bet he was both excited and scared. I mean, if you were traveling 5,200 miles an hour, you'd be scared too, wouldn't you? And I bet his parents were very proud, and what happened next was even more galactically great.
Galactically what?
Well, what I meant to say was America's space adventures only got better. Following Alan Shepard came a long line of heroic space explorers like Wally Schirra and John Glenn, who you may know as Senator John Glenn. But he was also one of America's first and most famous astronauts. He was the first American to circle the Earth 3 times.
Awesome! That must have been more fun and thrilling than the world's greatest roller coaster ride.
More thrilling, yes, but more fun, well, it took a lot of courage and scientific technology and hard work and not a whole lot of room to make it all happen. Well, come on, I'll show you.
Wow! Is this a real spaceship, Harry?
Well, yes and no. It's an exact duplicate, a copy, a replica of the space shuttle Friendship 7 that carried John Glenn in a 3-orbit journey around the Earth. The year was 1962, and it forever changed space history because it proved that man could work and live in outer space for long periods of time.
Screaming asteroids! Let's check it out!
Roaring rockets, now you're talking my language. Get in.
Harry's right. It's really small for a doll. But for us kids, it's just the right size.
Hey, Harry, what's this?
Looking for me?
Actually, we're looking for answers. What's this?
This is the Gemini capsule, and it was named after the 2 stars of Gemini. Do you know why they call it that?
Is it because it can only fit 2 astronauts?
You're right! The Gemini program was step 2 in NASA's 3-step program to carry man to the moon and back. It was during this phase that astronauts working side by side first explored space from inside and outside their space capsules. Outside, they moved around in space through the use of a gas-filled rocket gun.
What's a gas-filled rocket gun?
Oh, it's really cool. Or should I say, moving. Get it? Okay. It's the astronaut's version of a super soaker. Except instead of being filled with water, it's filled with gas. When you pull the trigger, gas is released and pushes the astronaut in the opposite direction. It's a great way to help astronauts get around in space.
My super soaker won't do that.
Right. What happened next, Harry?
Well, it was also during the Gemini project that the first manned rendezvous between 2 space vehicles took place. Gemini missions proved once and for all that man could rendezvous, dock, and walk in space. So, do you guys know what it means to rendezvous and dock in outer space?
I do. It means when one astronaut drives a spaceship to meet another spaceship.
Well, that's right, Maria. But actually, astronauts use the term pilot their spacecraft instead of drive. And do you know what docking means?
Yeah, we've been learning about the space program in school. It's when one spacecraft links up to another, and astronauts can go from one spacecraft to the other.
Jump in, Jupiters! You're both galactic geniuses. Now it's time to move on to the next phase of NASA's journey to the moon, the Apollo space program.
We know all about the Apollo program. We learned about it in school. One of the greatest things about the Apollo program was the design, building, and launching into space of man's first space station.
That's right. Skylab was a combination workplace and hotel where for 3 months astronauts lived and worked in space.
It was also the first time astronauts from 2 different countries met in space.
That's right, Maria. The date was 1975, when spacemen from America and what used to be the Soviet Union linked their 2 space capsules for 44 hours. In those hours, food, scientific experiments, and most importantly, friendship was shared. The mission affirmed that peaceful cooperation between different countries is possible in space. Since you guys know so much about the Apollo program, can you tell me what happened on July 20th, 1969?
That's easy. That's when astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin first walked on the moon.
You mean like what we're doing now?
Holy moly, moon units! Are we really walking on the moon?
Oh, well, no, not really. But it's about as close as you're going to get without actually leaving the Earth. This is what Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin saw when the Eagle, that was the name of their lunar lander, touched down on the moon's surface. Let's listen.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Very fine-grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine. I'm going to step off the limb. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
They were the first human beings in history to land and walk on the moon.
But weren't there 3 astronauts that went to the moon?
You're right, but the 3rd astronaut, Michael Collins, orbited the moon in the Command Module Columbia. He was waiting for them to return from the moon's surface.
What's really exciting is what Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong did in the 2.5 hours they were on the moon. They hopped around in the lunar gravity, in which they weighed only 1/6 of their Earth weight and collected dirt and rock samples. Then they planted an American flag in the powdery gray soil. Because there's no atmosphere on the moon, the flag would have hung limp. So it was made to stand straight out on its own. They also set up a meter to record moonquakes and meteor hits.
Hey, Harry, come back down to Earth!
Oh, sorry. Moon madness just took a hold of me. You see, I always wanted to be an astronaut.
But Harry, you're a genie. Can't you be anything you want?
Well, yeah. But, you see, being an astronaut takes a lot of hard work and special training, even for a genie. Well, come on, I'll show you. Now, working in outer space, where there's no gravity and no air, requires some special training with some far-out far out. Get it? Far out of this world, way out there, outer space, far out.
We get it, Harry.
All right. Right, well, some far-out equipment. Well, for example, how would you train if your spacecraft suddenly went out of control and went hurtling towards the Earth?
Riding on the freeway with my mom.
Oh, well, close, Jerry. I've seen your mom drive, but not exactly. You do it with this. Oh, this is the multi-axis trainer. Who wants to try it?
I'm willing to explore the new space frontier. Let me at it.
All right, let's go. This was designed to give astronauts the idea of what it feels like to be tumbling out of control in outer space. Tell us if it does the job, and bye-bye.
does the job. It feels great to be back on Earth.
I bet. Well, Jerry, you want to go next?
No thanks. I want to go on that.
Oh, okay.
What does this do, Harry?
This is the 1/6 gravity chair, and it was used to train those astronauts who walked on the moon. You see, the gravity on the moon is 1/6 the gravity on the Earth. So people weigh a lot less on the moon than they do on the Earth. Well, how much do you weigh?
95 pounds.
Well, 95 pounds here on Earth, but on the moon you'd weigh 1/6 of that, so that would be about 16 pounds. You see, this chair makes it possible for you to see what it would be like to walk on the moon.
I'm ready. Strap me in.
Ready? On your mark, get set, moon boogie!
Playing baseball on the moon would be out of this world. You'd run faster, every hit you made would be out of the stadium, out of sight, and I mean really out of this world.
Harry, there's no gravity in space. How do you train for no gravity?
Oh, good galactic question, Jerry. But to answer that question of weightlessness, we don't go up, we go down. Well, come on, I'll show you. The only practical way to experience weightlessness for long periods of time is to go into a pool where your body is supported by water. Although not perfect, it gives our future astronauts the feeling of what it's like to work in a weightless environment.
You mean swimming underwater is kind of like spacewalking?
That's right, Maria, because both give you the feeling of weightlessness. Now, in order to maintain your physical well-being on Earth, you need to eat foods that are good for you and to exercise. And that's where this comes in, the Space Station Mobility Trainer.
How does it work?
Well, simple. Just sit down, strap yourself in, and you'll see.
Ready for anything. Now what?
Well, as soon as you're strapped in there... Ta-da! You start walking. Because of the weightless environment in space, if you didn't exercise, your muscle tissue would break down and your bones would become brittle and weak. And that's why it's important for space travelers to stay fit. And this is one of the best ways to do it. Faster, faster, faster! Hello?
Now I know how a hamster must feel.
Well, because of the weightlessness in space, there's another problem. How to move in space. And that's where this comes in. My personal favorite, the Moo unit.
Harry, don't you mean the moon unit?
Oh, loony lunar landings. Oh, I mean the multi-maneuvering unit, the MMU unit, or the Moo for short.
Harry, even for a genie, you can be really far out. And what does this Moo unit do?
Well, thanks. I know I'm far out. This was designed because in space, many times what's up is down, what's down is up, and sideways is anything and everything in between. To help simulate being in outer space, it operates on a cushion of air. And I can move left or right, yeah, just like in outer space. No, don't push that button. Thanks, Jerry. Now that I'm on a roll, Follow me. One good turn deserves another. You guys finish the training while I unwind my dizzy head. Oh. This spin chair is a disorientation experiment. Just what I need. Oh.
Harry, we're ready. We've completed all the training. Yeah, Harry, can we go into outer space now? Can we?
Whoa, my little space cadets, not so fast. Now that you know all the special training astronauts have to go through in order to go to outer space, you need to learn about the special clothes they have to wear in order to survive in outer space.
What kind of clothes? Where do you get them? Do they come in different colors with matching boots?
Whoa, cool your jets. Don't ask me, ask him.
Your suit is really galactic.
It sure is, kids. This is the suit that NASA American astronauts wore when they went to the moon.
Is it hot in there?
It's not hot when you set the controls. You can set the controls depending on what your work activities are. If you're working very hard and you're building up heat, you can expend the heat by adjusting the controls, or you can bring the temperature down. You can bring it up or down with this control pack.
What are the tubes for?
These tubes have water flowing through all the way from my shoulders to my feet. Water is going around and around, circulating through the entire suit and acting as what a radiator does for an automobile, bringing heat away from my body.
What are these big blue shoes for?
These are the shoes that we actually walked on the lunar surface, and we had to be prepared for any type of surface conditions, and we didn't want to cut the bottom of the soles. We didn't want to trip on anything and have a tear go into the soles, and we'd lose the pressure inside and we'd be in considerable risk. So they made the shoes rather large and rather bulky and rather heavy to safeguard the pressure suit inside.
Is it hard to walk and work in?
Not at all. It was specifically designed for use on the moon. If the astronaut had to do the same amount of work on the Earth, it would be considerably more difficult because the gravity on the moon is 1/6 the amount of gravity we have here on the ground on Earth.
Why do you carry this big backpack?
I carry everything I need to stay alive, stay in touch, and stay comfortable. I've got air conditioning units in there, heating units, batteries, radios, and oxygen tanks in there. It was engineered with a duplicity of everything. We have a primary and a backup. If something goes wrong with the primary, we have a redundant system to, again, reduce risk while we're working on the lunar surface.
Does it come in kid sizes?
We'll be ready when you are.
Harry, we know about the training we need to know to go into space, and we know what clothes we need to use to survive in outer space. What else do we need?
A rocket.
Is this the rocket that's going to take us into space?
Oh, no, this is much too small to carry all of us into space.
Then what kind of rocket is it?
Well, this is a Mercury rocket. Remember NASA's 3-step program to the moon? Well, this was part of the Mercury program. It was a rocket like this that first carried man into outer space. But this is much too small to carry all of us. For that, we need a much, much bigger rocket.
You mean a rocket as big as that one?
Well, close, but not close enough. This rocket was designed to carry 2 people into outer space. And that's why it's part of the
Gemini program! Named after the twin stars of Gemini. Are you sure this isn't big enough to take us to the moon?
Of course I'm sure. For that, we need a rocket that's much, much bigger.
How much bigger?
This much bigger. This is the Saturn V rocket that carried man to the moon. It's 363 feet long and stands as tall as a 29-story building. At liftoff, it weighed more than 3,000 tons, and all but 52 tons of that was rocket fuel. Hey, I've got an idea. So that you can see just how long this rocket is, do you want to race to the end?
Yeah!
Well, racing rockets, what are we waiting for? On your mark, get set, go! seconds? What took you guys so long?
No fair, Harry. You're a genie.
That's right. And because I am, the next race is on me. On your marks, get set, go! There, that's better. Now, to learn more about the Saturn V rocket, this is the best place to start, at the beginning.
You're tricky, Harry.
Oh, magical is the word, Maria. I'm the genie. If I were a magician, I'd be tricky. Oh, but there is something magical about the Saturn V rocket. Can you tell me what it is?
Is the rocket genie powered?
Oh, no, it's not powered by me. But I decree, what looks like one rocket is actually three. See? Stage 1 is here. Stage 2 is near. Stage 3 is now next to me.
Super Saturn rocket.
Rockets is right, Maria. Each rocket is called a stage, and each stage has its own set of rocket engines. Like these. Stage 1 of the Saturn V rocket has some of the biggest and most powerful rocket engines ever built. For example, each of these 5 engines consumes 5,000 gallons of fuel every second.
Whoa!
And together, they generate the 7.6 million pounds of thrust needed to lift the rocket and its crew off the ground.
7.6 million pounds of thrust? How much is that in horsepower?
Well, that's roughly equivalent to the pulling power of 160 million horses.
Whoa, that's powerful. Those engines must be really loud.
Oh, very. They make a lot of noise.
How much is a lot?
Well, if you stack 8 million stereos on top of one another and turn them all on at the same time, full blast, the engines would still be louder.
Blasting rockets. Now that's what I call loud.
And within 2.5 minutes after the engines ignite, this rocket reaches a speed of 6,000 miles per hour. And then you know what happens?
What?
The first stage runs out of fuel. When stage 1 of the rocket has used up all of its fuel, it separates from the main spaceship and falls into the ocean and is lost. Then stage 2 takes over and pushes the spacecraft to an altitude of 108 miles above the Earth. When its job is done, stage 2 separates from the rocket and stage 3 takes over and pushes the spacecraft into an orbit around the Earth and eventually sends the spacecraft on its way to the moon.
Wow, imagine that. All the way to the moon.
Rockets like this one are very expensive because they can't be recovered and reused. So NASA developed a space shuttle, a combination rocket ship and glider that can be used over and over again to fly into space, then return safely to Earth. But that is a whole different adventure.
What's next on this space adventure?
Well, Freedom 1, the world's first fully functioning orbiting space station.
You mean we have a space station up there orbiting around the Earth like we see in the movies?
Well, yes and no. You see, it hasn't been built yet. It's still being designed. But when it's completed, people from all over the world can live and work together to further explore the mysteries of space.
You mean it'll be like a city in space?
More like a small, close-knit community similar to where you live. The people who will live, work, and play in space will need to use special equipment to keep their bodies strong. A lot like the equipment you trained on earlier. Because we all know strong bodies build strong minds.
But what kind of work will they do on the space station?
Good question. As part of everyday life in space, there will be living quarters set aside for individuals and their families. There will be fully equipped laboratories where some of the greatest minds in the world will be able to come together to conduct research and share their knowledge about Earth and the universe. The station will also have a place where satellites and spaceships can be built and repaired. And because the space station will be free from any gravity, it will be a perfect place from which other missions can be launched for the further exploration of space.
You mean like Mars?
That's right. And don't forget, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter,
And Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto.
and the whole universe that surrounds us.
Harry, this has been a blast. A space blast.
Yeah, this is the most exciting out-of-this-world adventure of my life.
Well, circling space stations is not over yet. I still have one duty left to perform.
What's that?
Well, it's time to make you official members of the Space Academy. And here are your flight wings to prove it.
Great Galactic Gadzooks! Did it, Maria? Yeah, now we're real U.S. space cadets.
Great galactic attitudes of gratitude from us to you.
What? I thought I heard everything. What does that mean?
That's space lingo for thank you.
Ah, cool. You're welcome. Bye.
Did that really happen?
It must have, because we're still wearing our wings.
I just wish we could be real astronauts.
Oh, but you are. You are the astronauts of tomorrow.
Gee whiz, Maria. Can I come play at your house again tomorrow?
I want to see the planets. I want to see the stars. I want to visit Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, Venus, and Mars. I want to see Mercury. I want to zoom around the moon. So put your spacesuits on, sit back. We're going to lift off soon. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. We're gonna blast off into outer space as soon as the countdown's done. A 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. When the rockets roar, we're gonna soar way off into the sun. Sailing through the solar system, we'll be taking off today. Around the rings of Saturn and out past the Milky Way. Here we go. A 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. We're gonna blast off into outer space as soon as the countdown's done. A 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. When the rockets roar, we're gonna soar way off into the sun. And when the rockets roar, we're gonna soar way off into the sun.
Don't miss any of my exciting Hard Hat Harry adventure videos. It's a trip of a lifetime when I blast off into outer space with my space buddies Maria and Jerry on board America's space shuttle in my real-life space shuttle adventure. We'll see astronauts prepare for their mission and supervise ground crews as they ready their shuttle for launch and load it on top of the 11 million pound laser-guided crawler for its trip to the launch pad. Soon after the shuttle's giant rockets lift us into space, we'll go on a mission of our own and help deliver a satellite into orbit around the Earth. From standing inside the shuttle's huge cargo bay to sitting in his commander's chair, we'll see it all on my biggest and most far-out adventure yet. In my adventure video, Real-Life Race Cars, my friends, those rookie racers Lisa and Rich, explore with me the fast-paced, action-packed, exciting world of auto racing. Join us as we ride the raceways and racetracks of America in some of the fastest cars ever built. Cars like the speed-breaking Formula One racers and the world-famous Indy cars, as well as champion NASCARs, dragsters, and funny cars. In real-life race cars, we'll also learn how race drivers are trained and protected, what a pit crew is, what they do, and how fast they have to do it. From cars that go fast to cars that barely go, my real-life race cars has it all. In real-life trains for kids, join me and my friends Terry and Kit for a journey into the exciting world of the railroad. You'll see vintage steam locomotives, high-speed bullet trains, and powerful superliners. We'll take a train trip, meet the conductor, and have a meal. All aboard! In real-life boats and ships for kids, travel with me and my friends Spuds and Nicole over the high seas for a journey aboard a powerful tugboat to see giant tankers, huge cargo ships, sleek Navy cruisers, and other amazing ships. I'll even show you a refrigerated banana boat. Learn how a submarine goes under the water while a hovercraft floats above the water. See lightning fast speedboats, majestic pleasure craft, and a truck that becomes a boat. In real-life fire trucks for kids, I take Matt and Maya on a magical trip of a lifetime as we live the adventures of a real-life firefighter. From ladder trucks that stretch 100 feet into the air to powerful pumping trucks that spray thousands of gallons of water every minute, we'll see it all. We'll even travel with the firefighters as they go to battle a real fire. In my real-life Airplanes for Kids adventure video, you'll journey back in time as my young aviator friends Jimmy and Katie learn about the world of flying, from the biplanes of yesterday to the jet aircraft of today. Together, we'll look inside, outside, above, below, and all around all types of airplanes, from old ones to new ones, from jets to helicopters, to a jet plane that flies like a helicopter. We will even travel on board an aircraft carrier to see how airplanes are launched, landed, and cared for at sea. In my real-life police cars for kids video adventure, I show my friends Robbie and Amber what it's like to work alongside the men, women, and animals of our police department. Together, we explore the ins and outs of police work, from cars to motorcycles, from bicycles to boats, from the air, on the ground, and in the water. Each of my Hard at Harry videos promises to give you hours of entertaining fun and excitement. So watch for me, because I'll be watching for you. See ya on my next adventure. Bye!